Welcome to Streaming with Two Dudes, a podcast about all things streaming. Each episode, we break down some of the best series, songs, movies, and shows. I'm one dude, Parker.
I'm the other dude, Jeff.
And Jeff, somebody's here with us today.
Yeah.
Who we got here with us today?
We're going to mix it up a little bit. This will be a first time, not only the first time we've had more than two, but we upped it to four. We have a couple of guests that I promise you are way cooler and funnier than Parker and I. And despite multiple rejections that Parker and I experienced in middle school and high school, we had a couple of people that accepted our invitation to join our podcast this week. One of them is
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Oh, come on,
I was like, I'm a woman.
I'm grateful to be a part of the polycule. Yeah.
Well, you caught a quick glimpse, but one of them you heard from a couple of weeks ago, Steen, and her partner in crime, Araya, is also joining us. Together, they do a podcast called Immediately Know. Covers true crime, paranormal, anything creepy. Definitely go check them out. I do have a question for you guys, though. Is there any chance there's going to be any merch out? Like, it's going to have, like, Wobbert is really strong, or...
We're working on it. We've actually...
I would totally buy some Wobbert merchandise.
Wobbert? Well, we've tried to come up with good designs that we thought people would wear, but I'm pretty basic in my clothing, so I have a hard time thinking of merch other people to wear. Maybe someday, yeah.
Gotcha.
We have definitely talked about it in a lot of the Lurking Co. type things, like with the Grim Reaper, like that style.
I've thought about
also
like
just like
making
super basic.
a stuffed Robert doll with like some muscles on it or something. Like, I don't know. Something funny.
I think that would turn into like a story at that point, because I don't know if you should mess with Wobbert.
For sure.
Love it.
We definitely appreciate you guys joining us this week and discuss this week's movie. But I guess before we get started, I'm a little curious. I believe y'all probably started this whole journey about the same time Parker and I did. You're probably about 9 months in on a podcast, and I think y'all met online probably through Call of Duty, and Parker and I met through TikTok. So kind of peel the curtain back a little bit. I'm interested to know, like, what is y'all's process as far as coming up with the ideas and you know, I think I heard on one of your podcasts you mentioned rehearsal. I know everybody does things differently. I'm just curious, you know, since y'all are very similar to us, as far as what does that look like for you guys on a weekly basis?
Chaos. Like, like I mean, we've tried to like sit down and come up with a structured schedule how we do it, and it just, we're just two chaotic girlies trying to make it through the world. So it's never one right way for us, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's
Really?
always different. It's always different.
We've we're kind of similar to you guys, where I can see Parker and you two operate a little bit differently, but I was gonna go that route, and then I realized no, Araya and I are both unhinged, and we just get it ebbs and flows. She might be in more of like a, yo, let's sit down and pencil this out this week, and I'm not, and then one week I'm that way, and we'll sit down together and we will pencil it out, and then life happens, and we're like, you know what? We were going to record our episode this week. We're not even recording it till tomorrow now. So it's like we're recording your episode before our episode. And it's just like, that's life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it.
No,
It's
we
chaos.
love it.
It's
Yeah.
I would categorize it as like unmedicated ADHD on my part.
Yeah, no,
Just
I
like
feel you.
painfully just fly by
No,
the
I
seat
agree.
of my pants on most things.
Yeah,
Do y'all actually like rehearse before you record, or how does that?
No, I think we've had like maybe 1 or 2 episodes where it just didn't turn out how we wanted, and we've gone back and redone it, and it felt like a rehearsal. But
Yeah.
but we do like loose scripts that we'll send to each other just to kind of have some structure to the episode.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's probably like the closest.
We did start out the difference for us a lot, especially if I'm doing like a case, if we're doing like a true crime, is extensive research. And I think that that's what takes up so much of our time. Because I work full time and then Araya has a whole ass family. So it's just like between the two of us in knocking out the research, and then we were really putting together like an entire script. Like we would pencil in like, all right, do whatever you want here, but then it would follow into the rest of the story. And I was really writing it like I was like writing a novel. And like how I would want someone to hear me say it. And that was really time consuming. And then we kind of started to loosen it a little bit more.
Because then you listen to it back and it'd be like, this sounds too structured. Like there's not a lot of room for comedy. There's not a lot of room for fun. And that's kind of the whole gig.
Yeah, that's kind of how we started, like that. Like, so the way I do like the recap, like you'll see later on in the episode, I kind of do it for memory, and I have ADHD as well, so it's kind of like a thing that I try to do. And I started out, writing it, like trying to detail everything and like making sure I don't miss anything. And I was like this, and then I was just like, it just sounded like I was reading, like no matter how much I tried to put it into my own words, it still, when I was listening back to it, it was sounding like I was just reading like a Wikipedia article.
It sounds like
nobody wants to listen to me recap a movie that way. So that's kind of how I came up with my, like, our little way of making it fun.
Like in elementary school when you do like popcorn reading.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like listening back to it.
Yeah, exactly.
You do. I said you do. Araya will experience it, but you do so well for having ADHD and reciting a whole movie from memory. It's the greatest. It's so funny.
Sometimes
I must have got lucky. It's so funny.
We like find like a niche where our brains are just like everything else is garbage, but we're gonna remember this really well for some reason.
Yeah,
like
it's definitely certain movies because some movies, man, I don't, and I just like,
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. I definitely do think I do a lot worse than Jeff gives me credit for sometimes, though. So I appreciate him. He's very gracious.
I could literally tell you the entire Sweeney Todd movie from like beginning to end. But if you ask me like what I ate for lunch yesterday, it's just like it's not there. You know what I mean? Like it's gone.
Right. It's just the certain things that.
Sweeney Todd. Jot that down.
Like if you rattle off a Ghost Adventures episode, I could tell you the season and the episode of it.
100%. Yeah, I'm there with you on that.
Nice.
I swear to God. Yeah.
Nice.
So, have you guys actually met in person or been able to hang out at all? Or
no, we wanted to do something this summer, but it just kind of. I think we're still gonna try. I wanted to do the.
I was gonna say, I think we're gonna aim for that. So we met on Call of Duty through a mutual friend of ours. And then we both were like, wait a second, you're so weird. And then like we're the only two girls, in our little crew, and we were like, wait, we're fucking crazy. And then we were like, we should like do a podcast. And then it really like we were like, no, really, we should do this. And then we did, and we just became really good friends through it. And so now she feels like family, and it's weird that I haven't met her because I don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way either. Yeah,
same.
Like, even weeks where we don't record episodes, we still talk almost every day, like a checking in on each other. Almost daily, I'd say.
Yeah. Park and I are the same boat. We've not met in person, but it's weird. It's like I can go like a couple of days or a few days without talking to them, but if I go back and listen to our podcast, I feel like I've talked to him for the whole week. Just
that's enough of Parker for the week.
Thanks, Jeff.
That wasn't meant as an insult. But...
He goes. I
love you too, man.
And he goes,
like,
I don't miss Parker.
I was waiting for it to get like all sentimental or something, and then Jeff hits me with like the Hallmark man over here. He hits me with the like, and I'm tired of his ass. Like as soon as it starts, I my partner picks quick.
I gotta say the sweet stuff. All right, Parker. I'm gonna throw it back to you and let you kind of take it from here.
All right. Well, one of the reasons that I actually invited you guys on was because originally the movie that you guys had suggested was this week's film, Don't Look Up. And some things happened, and we weren't able to all come together for that episode. And Jeff was like, he kind of seemed a little bummed out that he wasn't able to do it, and have a guest. He sounded like and I was like, you know what, like, some things went through with Araya. Jeff really wants to do this. I know me and Steen had fun, so they originally wanted to do Don't Look Up, so like, why not? Like, let's see if they want to do it. So I'm so glad that you guys did this. Yeah, this is gonna be so much fun. So yeah, this week we watched Don't Look Up on Netflix. That is our streaming original for this month's theme, natural disasters. But Jeff, Araya, Steen, what else have you guys been streaming? I don't know. We'll go with Araya. We'll go in alphabetical order. Araya, what else have you been streaming besides Don't Look Up?
So I have been doing a Deadliest catch up.
Oh, nice.
So I think there's like 14 seasons, and I'm on season 4 right now because everybody loves that show.
Is that the one where there was like a storm and then they had to catch the fish still and like not lose the fish off the boat during the storm?
Yeah, they like just reach their hands up and like jump and start catching.
I was like, I wish people could see your face. It was so serious, and I was like, is Parker thinking of like the perfect storm right now or something crazy? And I was like, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
No, I have no idea.
Like, I guess one thing about me is I love just boring shit. Like, I love things that
no offense, Steve.
I love PBS documentaries. I love like weird fishing shows. Like, I just love, I don't know why. It makes me, anything about the Civil War, like.
Oh yeah. See, I'm a big war documentary too. Like, I love those.
World War II is my favorite World War, so
Well, you have 2 to pick from. It's a good.
She said one thing about me is I love boring shit. Oh,
have you used that line on your husband?
No, he knows. He does. He gets like pretty upset about like the shit that I watch because he's just like, I woke up at 3 a.m. to like Normandy, or like like storming beaches in Germany, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. You knew this about, you knew who I was.
That's awesome.
Now, have you been to New Orleans before?
No, I'm actually, that's one of the places that's like on my where I want to go this summer.
All right, they got a World War II museum. You got to check it out.
Just blow your pussy.
That's
oh
we
my
need
gosh.
to go.
I mean, you need like a full 2 or 3 days. It is incredible. So yeah, you can go just for that reason. You'd be happy.
I love the World War. This is my favorite war. So
okay,
yeah,
well,
I'll check that out. Vietnam War, I got shit on World War II. So
Oh, all right, Jeff. What else have you been streaming?
All right, Park, you're gonna get tired of me because this is gonna be the 3rd time I've had to use this, but
Okay.
But this time it's an actual album, not just an individual song or music video. But I don't know if Araya and Steen are familiar with them, but a guy by the name of NF.
Yeah.
oh, a rapper, yeah.
Yes, I love NF. He dropped a new album a couple of weeks ago called Hope. It is fantastic. If it's not his best one, it's close to it. The Search was really good as well. But got tickets to see him in July, so I'm just listening to the album over and over and over. Go check it out. He's also got like 2 music videos on this album. This dude is insane.
I love that you love him. That's so random.
Dude, did I know you had tickets to go see him?
I don't know that. You may not. It's been pretty recent. I think I just got him this past week.
Oh, sweet, dude.
Are we
Nice.
witnessing a fight right now? Is this a domestic dispute?
Oh, you didn't text me immediately about a concert, Jeff? How
Yeah.
dare you?
Wait, were we
yes. So
were we
Steen,
talking about
I kind of
music?
jumped from NF to Taylor Swift. I'm also a big Swiftie, so I'm kind of all over the place. But but yeah, so yeah, go check it out. It's a great album.
What'd you say,
sweet.
Araya?
Were we talking about like music we were streaming, or was it like anything that we were
Anything
watching?
you're streaming, anything you're
Okay.
streaming.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
whatever
okay.
you're streaming. Yeah.
He's like
whatever you're
World
streaming.
War
I
II.
was like, did I not have to tell everybody
No,
that I like
no,
World
that
War
was
II
perfect.
documentaries?
That was perfect. That was spot on. That was spot on. Steen, what about you? What have we been streaming?
I am watching a show on Netflix right now called Florida Man.
Oh, nice. I've seen that,
And
but I
it
haven't
caught my
watched it.
attention. Yeah, it caught my attention because Florida Man. I was like, this has got to be something. It's pretty good. It's a limited series. I feel like most limited series end up being pretty decent because it's like a limited. I don't know, fucking know. They do a good job. They cram
Right.
a bunch in.
Yeah,
it
because they're trying to do
works.
that one story, like one storyline.
Yeah, and
sum it
it's really really good. So you should watch it. I'm not done with it yet, but
Is it like a comedy or is it like a drama?
no. I wouldn't even know what to freaking call it. It's like an ex cop goes back to Florida to handle like some situations, and then he gets wrapped up with a girl, and it's just like, I guess it's a little bit, there is comedy, but it's also like I don't know, it's like everything really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I honestly, I really haven't really been watching anything. I'm kind of in the same boat as Jeff, but except I'm going to literally repeat for the third week in a row. I did watch the wedding episode, caught up on that, and I watched, dude, the live reunion. What
Love
a
Is Blind
shit show! Yes,
So you
Oh
gotta
my
tell us the
God.
show.
Love Is Blind.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
So
Do you guys have time to sit here and talk about this for hours? Because I personally could probably.
I mean, I could, but I don't know about them.
This
But-
He
season was
loves Love Is Blind. I haven't
Uh,
watched this season at all. That's the only
Oh
part.
man.
Yeah.
So did you try to watch the live reunion?
Oh yeah, I was like really pissed.
Oh man, it finally started like an hour and like a half late, I think. I don't know. It
I mean,
was
I
crazy.
saw that whole thing happen, but
I also didn't love like the hosting this
Yeah.
reunion because I felt like a lot of
Yeah.
people needed to be called out and like
Mhm.
they weren't called out.
Right. And then I don't know, it's always kind of a weird thing when someone asks other people when they're gonna have a baby too. I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, like mind your own
and then
business.
especially call somebody out on national TV. It's like, so who's gonna have a baby? And it's like, bro,
ugh,
chill.
yeah, that's tacky. Yeah.
But yeah, that, and then the show Beef, it's on Netflix. Finished
Okay.
that. That's pretty great. If you love I forgot what the show's called, with Christina Applegate and like Linda
Oh,
Dead
Dead to Me.
to Me. Yeah, it's kind of like that, where it's like a dark comedy but like also
Oh.
suspenseful like the whole time, and like it's one of
Huh.
those type shows. Beef. Yeah, it starts out
Good
with these
show.
two people like kind of getting in a road rage incident, and just kind of like tracking each other down and just escalating things and going, getting worse and worse between each other until things just kind of go to a
Yeah,
certain point.
'cause
It's pretty crazy.
It's the lady from Always Be My Maybe or whatever, right?
Yeah, Amy
Yeah.
Wong, I believe.
Yeah. The comedian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good show. Definitely recommend that. And then yeah, just my audiobook that I've been listening to called New Arcadia Stage 2. It's getting pretty good.
Oh.
I'm pretty into that. I'm like 10 chapters, 12 chapters in, something
I
like
need
that.
to get into audiobooks,
I
man.
love reading.
See,
know.
like, yeah, so I drive for a living, so like audiobooks and like podcasts and all that,
Yeah.
music, like that's literally my whole entire day.
If you
um,
ever need like an insane smut recommendation, let me know. I can just cover your way. I
Bet.
got like a couple.
Bet.
Just like blow your socks clean off.
Bet. All right. Oh yeah, and I actually got in a couple of episodes of Demon Slayer 2 this week, but that's been it pretty much.
All right. Demon
Yeah,
Slayer.
yeah.
You're well rounded over there.
Yeah, I try to keep it well rounded. I spend a lot of time, and that's not even talking about the amount of Stardew Valley that I played this week as well. So
Oh, a violent amount. I've put a violent amount of time in Stardew Valley.
it's insane how much of my life has been put into Stardew Valley. So this week we watched Don't Look Up. Jeff, Steen, Araya, what can y'all tell me about this movie? Like, do y'all know, like without telling me like how you feel about it just yet, kind of tell me like what you know about it, like what's your history with it. Did you guys watch this before it came out? Before Jeff goes into like too much detail, because he's gonna give us like the
I
rundown.
literally watched it yesterday.
That was the first time you've ever seen it?
my husband
Jeff's
watched it.
face.
No, he said
Sorry,
if you
Jeff.
Parker said if he watched it before it came out, and I'm like, well, that
Oh,
would
did I say that? Oh, my bad. My bad. Good call, Jeff. Sorry. If you watched,
Sorry,
if
Steve,
you
that
watched
was
it
the face.
before this episode, or before you had to watch it for this episode, there we go.
Oh gosh.
So my husband watched it when it first came out.
Yeah.
And me and him don't really agree on movies ever.
Mhm.
So I was interested to watch it and like form my own opinion about
Yeah.
it. And I didn't have a different one. So
Okay. Cool.
Oh, so I
This-
know his opinion now because I know yours. Interesting. Okay.
Steen, have you ever seen this before?
So, no.
No.
I mean,
All
I've watched it. I didn't. So
You watched it
Wait,
for the
never
hold on.
seen
episode.
it. I've never
Never
seen
seen it.
I've actually never seen this movie.
You're just gonna hope
No.
we tell you enough about it that you can fill in the gaps.
Yeah. No, I actually did watch it before it came out. That's part of this like exclusive club. No,
You might want to
So-
edit that out, Parker.
No, that's gold.
Yeah, no,
wanna get anybody in trouble.
I heard a lot of things about this movie.
Mhm.
I'll leave it as bland and broad as that.
Yeah.
And so I went into it with knowing a lot of opinions.
Okay.
And I watched it. Probably I think it was last weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean I really watched it. I was like into it, like watching it.
Well, cool.
And it's got a lot of people in it.
It does have a lot of people in it.
It's got a lot
And
of people.
I think Jeff is probably going to tell us some of those people
Okay.
right about now, because I don't think he's seen this either, right, Jeff? You haven't seen this before we watched it for this episode.
I mean, I didn't watch it before it came out.
Okay, cool.
So I'm the only one. I'm the only one that watched this. I actually watched this. I told Jeff at the end of the episode last week when we were talking about this week's episode, that I actually watched this the day it came out because I was on a flight between Nashville and Buffalo around Christmas. And I think it came out on Christmas. So I had it downloaded and I was watching it on a flight back to Buffalo. So yeah, I was
Huh.
in the air when I was watching this movie,
Wow.
which is very
Yikes.
interesting. Yeah, it was one of those which I mean we won't get into like too much of like what was going on, but when the very end of the film was going on, it was one of those
Yeah.
situations where I was like, and I had to like turn my phone and I was like trying to like cover it up real fast and making sure nobody was like looking at me or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
mhm.
Jeff, what can you tell me about this movie?
All right. So as Steen alluded to, man, this ton of people, all-star cast for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, you got Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Jonah Hill, Kate Blanchett, Mark Rylance, Tyler Perry, Ron Perlman, Ariana Grande. It goes on and on even from there. So definitely director was Adam McKay.
Yep.
And does he may want to take a guess at how many Oscar winners are in this film?
Ooh. Ooh, okay.
6.
Very
No,
close.
Say 6.
Very, very close.
No, you got to subtract Leo. So
I think he's officially won. I think he officially won one before it came out, though.
I'm gonna say 8.
Um,
I'm gonna say 8.
7.
Okay. All right. Answer was 5.
Nice.
Although actually 7 is very close because there was 5 winners and 2 nominees.
Oh.
So DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Blanchett, Meryl Streep, and Mr. Sir Mark Rylance all won. Timothy, I'll probably mess his name up, is it
Chalamet.
Chalamet and
Yeah.
Jonah Hill were both nominated. And actually, Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, and Kate Blanchett each won Oscar for Best Actress in 2011, 2012, and 2013.
Ooh,
So
hat
back
trick.
to back to back.
Jennifer
one-
Lawrence deserved that.
Yeah.
She did that.
And a big name that was almost in it was Matthew Perry. He was cast as a Republican journalist, but he only shot one of his 3 scenes, but he had to pull out due to a medical emergency. We can all probably figure what that was related to, but
That's what she said.
yeah.
Stop it.
Edit that out.
Jail.
Sorry.
No, that's staying in too.
So this became Netflix's third most viewed film ever in just 11 days. So yeah, very popular. A lot of hype
Nice.
around it.
There was a
It's-
lot of hype.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And it was only the second. Let me see if I can word this right. The second widely reviewed film on Aggravator, Rotten Tomatoes that had a rotten rating, but to also receive a Best Picture Oscar nomination.
Wow.
Hmm.
Controversial.
Exactly. Now, of
Wow.
course, y'all discussed Contagion a couple of weeks ago, and COVID did have a major impact on this movie. The first one being Jennifer Lawrence filmed most of her scenes with a broken tooth. Due to the restrictions of COVID, she could not get it fixed, so the missing tooth was added in post-production.
Oh, wow.
What?
That is insane. What?
There's got to be an unedited version out there, right? I mean,
I'm
Right.
sure.
Someone please find this like an NHL hockey version of this movie somewhere on the dark web with Jennifer Lawrence with that haircut would look
Right.
like Joe Dirt. Okay?
Oh my gosh, that she would, oh, you know, I bet it would be like Larry from Dumb and Dumber. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, with her bangs and everything.
Yep.
Ew.
So the other impact was Mr. Timothy Chalamet. How you say his name?
Chalamet.
Chalamet. Wow. I will butcher that the rest of the night. Don't worry.
I love it.
There was no intentions of him having long hair, but of course during COVID, you couldn't get haircuts there for a while. So they had a Zoom meeting, and the director was like, "Dude, I'm loving the long hair. Don't cut it before we shoot." So he had long hair in the movie.
Nice.
Also, Leonardo DiCaprio, he was the hardest one to get to sign on for the movie. It took them several months. One of his big asks from Adam McKay was he said, I want a huge meltdown scene for my character. McKay had some, he was a little resistant, which I'm not sure why, but he felt it would be too preachy. But DiCaprio insisted that they could definitely make it funny.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got that in, because you think about it, especially with his character and Jennifer Lawrence's character, would you not want to have a meltdown based
Right,
on
kind of made
Yeah.
sense. Like I couldn't
mean, that's
imagine him
just, like,
not having it.
thing. Yeah.
It's very on brand of him to request that.
Well,
Yeah.
he's
It's
like
I need a big meltdown.
he's
Yeah.
a filmmaker too, so I feel like his sense on what would fit
Yeah.
into a movie, it,
Yeah.
it makes sense,
Yeah, and not to mention how many people like he's probably like he's worked with like James Cameron and like Martin Scorsese, so like he's probably picked up a lot from them. From
Yeah.
them.
Well, like just from his like scene in Django, like let
Yeah.
that man have a meltdown scene. Give him what he
Right.
wants.
Right. Man cuts his hand and keeps moving.
Yeah, it keeps it rolling.
But like without even getting into it, like just for us to foreshadow how that makes so much sense, that just the way this movie played out, that no one really cared to have like an upset like in this movie whatsoever. Like
Yeah.
he had to beg for them to be like, no, please, can we like actually give a shit in this movie, please?
Right?
Oh, my
Oh
gosh.
man. All right. Jeff, anything else?
Sure, I got a couple more things. Jonah Hill, it was his idea for his character to carry that Birkin bag everywhere. Him and the filmmaker just thought it would be the most absurd touch that the president's chief of staff would carry nuclear codes around in a $30,000 bag.
That's great.
Also, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but right around the 1 hour and 40-minute mark, a QR code appears on screen.
Yeah, I saw that. I wanted to scan it, but I was like,
Oh.
If you scan it, you'll get a link to YouTube video called Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi. It's the full performance video of that Just Look Up songs.
Oh.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Now, Parker,
That was a bop.
I got a feeling this is going to be Parker's favorite fun fact. The phone number provided in the movie to call for peace of mind, I'll even repeat it, 1-800-532-4500, routes to America's hottest talk line, quote unquote, where hot girls are waiting to talk.
Like it's active. Hold on, what's the number again? What is it? Parker, write it down.
But here's my question. How much did they have to pay to ask for their number to be featured in this movie? Because volume went way high after
Do we
that
have
movie.
numbers for that? Like how many callers they actually had?
Definitely worth a
That-
Google
that'd
search.
You gotta
Yeah.
find those numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get somebody on the line.
So a
crazy.
lot of the
Literally.
the smartphones, the smartphones you saw featured by that really creepy guy. They were legit phones. They were called hydrogen phones. They were made by cinema camera manufacturer Red. And these phones were a colossal flop because one, they were extremely high price. And due to all the delays, by the time it finally released, it was so dated that hardly anybody bought any. So big flop
Man.
there. There's a couple of scenes where one of the reasons I'd like to go back and rewatch the movie, there's so much going on in the background that you have no clue if you're not paying attention. And
Yeah.
one of those scenes is I actually went back and watched it, just this scene today, because I'm like, I don't remember that. But when Kate is explaining to Philip, her, I guess, boyfriend at the time, about how the comet is bigger than the meteor that caused the dinosaurs' extinction, there's actually a man wearing a dinosaur costume in the background
What?
for the
I
full
don't remember that.
conversation. Yes,
Yeah.
it's there. Trust me.
Well, that's
I'm
like
telling
that's
you, they
one
threw
thing
it
that
in.
yeah, one thing I noticed this time around. I mean, this was only my second time watching it, but I actually noticed that shovels, like the price of shovels, if you look in the background, like in the stores, like it'll be like shovels, and then the price will like keep rising. And I know it got up to like at one point I saw $5.99, like $599. Like it was
Oh my-
advertising shovels for $599. I was like, man, this is
That-
too real.
I
And actually-
love when a movie throws in just like random stuff that you don't catch and
Yeah.
unless you're watching it over and over and over. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
There's
Those
so
are
many,
the
and you were
best.
talking about the shovel. There was actually, I think it was kind of around the time when that QR code popped up, when it was showing like the chat screen,
Mhm.
and a guy popped in and said, "I'll give 5,000 for a shovel." So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff like that. And
Yeah.
of course, there are a couple little digs at real life situations, especially since Donald Trump was president. There was a lot to make fun of there, but you notice Jonah Hill's character and just some of his weird statements towards his mother.
Mhm.
It's like, well, if she wasn't my mother,
I
which
know.
of course, we all remember Donald Trump's famous comment about, his daughter. It's like, well, if she weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. So a couple of little.
It was a mediation on the social climate. I did appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely was,
yeah.
especially at the time for sure. Like knowing
Oh,
that they
yeah.
filmed this during COVID and stuff. Like, yeah.
All right, just a couple more little tidbits here. Adam McKay ironically based President Janie Orleans' scandal on Jennifer Lawrence's real life nude leak, which occurred during the
Oh.
massive iCloud data leak in 2014.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
I remember
There's
that
a lot
too.
of
Hear how she felt
inspiration.
about that.
Well, and at the time too, with like the Hunger Games, she was a huge,
Mhm.
mostly
She was like
amongst,
the biggest at the
teenagers and
time. Yeah.
but she was like popular amongst children and like teenagers.
Mhm.
It was one of those like turning points for people who had those type of movies, like
Yeah.
the adults. Like same
It
with
was
Miley
like
Cyrus,
Vanessa
yeah.
Hudgens.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like when Miley
Yeah.
Cyrus had her little moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Jennifer Lawrence is definitely the type that, I mean, I'm sure that's not a very good memory of hers, but she's still the type that I'm sure if the director approached her, hey, you mind if we use that little incident in your life as inspiration? It's like, oh yeah, dude, go for it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the vibe she gives out.
Yeah, I
Or-
don't think she really cares too
Well,
much.
a woman in her 20s, them making such a big deal out of a woman in her 20s taking nude photos of herself. Like, it is
that's a little bit
ridiculous when you
crazy,
think
yeah.
about it.
Especially
yeah.
when like you're like you invaded my privacy to get them. It's not
Right.
like it's not like I have like an
Yeah.
OnlyFans. Like chill.
Yeah, like they're mine and they were private. Meanwhile, there's like 16-year-old out here. that
I
are
could
doing
see
it.
like her being okay with
Right.
it because it was a really absurd situation when you look up like back on it now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can we just talk about her hair real quick? Like that was no, but I meant no. That was fucked. I meant I was really like trying to analyze it in the movie, and it was like that was a wig, right? Like she was wearing like a. She didn't cut her hair like that, did she?
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
pretty sure
know.
it was a wig. Actually, I read that a number of actors and actresses, because of COVID, they had to bring their own wigs
Mhm.
to the shoot. So maybe that's
She
why.
just had that.
I
Maybe
feel
that's
like
why
she
it
cut
looks
her
so
own hair
bad.
during COVID. I feel like she cut her own hair during COVID. That was my guess. I was like,
It
she done
looked
tried to
so
cut her.
real.
she done went through it during COVID, and she done had herself a moment and got herself scissors and went to the bathroom and cut herself bangs. That's
Yeah. She had a Britney Spears moment, but no one caught it 'cause everyone was
Right.
quarantined.
It's
Oh,
like that one
man.
video where the girl cuts it, and then it like when she cuts it, it like springs up, and then it's like forehead.
I know exactly
Like,
what you're
oh
talking
shit.
about. Oh god.
Oh,
All right,
man.
last little tidbit. During the
Right.
ending montage, as the comet collides with Earth, a nude couple is briefly shown in bed together. Believe it or not, that was not filmed for the movie, but is in fact taken from a video uploaded in 2019 to the Pornhub channel Lena Rica.
What?
At the time of the movie's release, the video had amassed 680,000 views.
That's great.
I'm
This would
sure
definitely be-
Leonardo wanted that in there too. That was like part of his.
Yeah, right above the meltdown. He was like, dude, we got to put that in there. So
That's so funny.
this will
Oh,
by
yeah.
far be the one podcast we put out that people are going to be Googling certain things.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna set
Yeah.
off some triggers in like a national system.
Or
Oh my god.
All right.
That's
Anything
so
else?
I think that is it from my little bit of research.
Oh yeah. But yeah, those bangs, man. Oh, for
Dude, it was
sure.
the whole haircut. I felt like she would chain smoke packs of cigarettes with that haircut. Love
Oh,
it. Huh?
oh man. All right. So at this part of the podcast, we are going to do the recap. For those of you guys that are listening for the first time, I am going to recap this totally from memory. I was kind of explaining it earlier, but we'll go over it again. I'm going to like completely from memory, start to finish, try to cover as much as I can. Jeff is going to grade me, which you guys I would actually love it if you guys would grade me as well on your own. From a scale of A+ being like, dude, you hit everything. Like, I feel like I watched the movie again the way you told it, to F being like, dude, I'm pretty sure that you watched Armageddon and not Don't Look Up. So with that, we are going to start out. We got
And
and
we're allowed to interrupt at any point. So
you are. I mean,
Dean,
yeah.
Araya, if a thought hits, throw it in there, interrupt them. So
Yeah, you're more than welcome to talk over me or talk through this. I'll stop. We can listen. You don't have to do it just out of spite. But
I
mean,
was like,
you're more than
oh,
welcome to.
okay.
But
Spite's
if
fine.
you spite, I mean, spite is absolutely fine. It's good for the content. But
It's
if
a
you
good
do
band.
have something,
Anyway.
yeah, if you have something you want to say, like pertaining to a certain scene, or if I missed something and you want to talk about it, you can definitely bring it up. So don't feel free. But yeah, and I'm also horrible with character names, so we can just go ahead and just throw that out the window. Especially in this movie where we got so many people that are just like, it's Leonardo DiCaprio, it's Jennifer Lawrence,
yeah.
it's
We'll know. Yeah,
Tyler
we'll know.
Perry. You're right. So we start out with Jennifer Lawrence. She's just kind of like scanning the skies, and she finds this comet. She's like super stoked. She celebrates because she's the one who discovered it. She's just like the student, and her professor is, I believe it's her professor, is Leonardo DiCaprio. He's out there celebrating, and they're kind of just like, you know what? While we're here celebrating, like, let's figure out the trajectory of the comet, just for fun, see like where it's going. And so as they're doing this, they slowly start to figure out that it's heading directly towards Earth. And they kind of do some calling around and notifying everybody. They get in touch with, I want to say it's one of Leonardo DiCaprio's like colleagues, and all three of them, they plan on going and getting a hold of, they get a meeting with the president, who is Meryl Streep, and her son, Jonah Hill. I forgot what he does exactly. He was like in charge of something. Like
He's the
was,
chief of staff.
Chief of
Yeah,
staff,
chief
yeah,
of
chief of
staff.
That's
staff.
it. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Something
He
very
does
important.
something. I don't know, something.
Something, something. You got a little job, something, somewhere. And so they get a meeting with them set up. They go and they're sitting out there. The general, asks them if they want some snacks. So they go and they get some snacks. He brings it back and he asks them, for money, and they all give him money for the snacks. And then, he doesn't have change to give him either. So then he leaves, and they're still waiting around for hours. Jennifer Lawrence goes into the break room and finds out that the snacks are free, and she is pissed about this. She cannot figure out why this general has charged her for snacks.
That was
and-
actually my favorite storyline, probably in the movie. That
was-
to me
it
was
was-
just hilarious.
I did like every time it got brought up, and I like the funny thing about it is like I watched a movie is never the same watching it the second time or multiple times, but even knowing that was coming up, I still laughed every time just as much as I did the first time, because the delivery too, man, she is top notch. I love Jennifer Lawrence,
I
seriously.
mean, what I loved is it was so relatable, because I would be the exact same way.
Yeah, same.
It-
I would too. I would overthink something for years. It would
see,
literally.
To me, it wouldn't even bothered me that he got money from me. I'd
Yeah.
have been just like her characters, like, why is he don't need money. The fact that she struggled with it all movie long, because I'm
like-
the same way. I struggle with the principles of stuff,
Yeah.
not with the actual like monetary value or what actually happened. But
She was like, it's a power play.
She's
It's definitely
stressed
a power
about two things, like this comment and the fact that Jonah Hill charged her for free snacks. Like those are the two things that are on the forefront of her mind.
that's very true.
Dude, it was great. It was great. And so they've been there for hours and hours, and they find out that they're not going to have the meeting that day, so the meeting gets rescheduled to the next day. They get put up in a hotel. They go and they're just kind of chilling. Jennifer Lawrence, she's dating this guy who's some kind of just some kind of journalist, like from like some kind of news site, kind of a clickbait type news place, talking, and then like she's just kind of talking to her at the hotel, or she's talking to him at the hotel, and they're kind of just doing their thing. They go and meet the president the next day, and they're telling him about this comment, and everybody just kind of seems like they're not taking it seriously. They're worried about how it's going to look, how it's going to affect the polls, and all of these things. So they just kind of like brush them off, and they figure out that they're probably not going to do anything about it. Which right now I'll get into this real quick. Jennifer Lawrence, the scene between her and like Jonah Hill, the back and forth, man, chef's kiss. That was some of the best. Like, I don't know if they, I think I heard somewhere that they improvised a lot of that, and I can't imagine how much they were laughing. Like, I would love to watch a reel, like one of the, like a blooper reel of just like them going back and forth for like 2
that
hours.
to me was that part to me was what saved the movie for me. Like, I was like, I would watch this again just to watch the two of them, because Jonah Hill had me crying at some parts. Like, I just was like, this guy is so dumb. Like,
yeah, I wish I could remember some of the things that they said about each other, because man, he was just
like,
cutting her deep.
He's like, you want to come?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, and he shut the door. That shit cracked me up.
Oh, that was great. That was great.
I remember reading a headline that said, I mean, it was just stated something to the effect that Jennifer Lawrence said that Jonah Hill's the hardest person to work with. And I was like, holy crap, what is this about? But when you read the article, it was because she said, I couldn't keep a straight face. He had me laughing the entire time. She said, I couldn't get my lines right. She said, so it was, it was in a good way. But I mean, I literally, after the movie was over, I was Googling, who do I need to email in Hollywood to demand a comedy starring Jennifer Lawrence and Jonah Hill?
That would be
Literally.
great.
Oh my gosh, that would be pure gold.
Right, like some kind of like where they hate each other, because they definitely have to hate each other in the movie, because
Yeah.
that kind of chemistry was great between them.
I mean, you figure their total airtime together was probably 10 minutes, but
Mhm.
man, it seemed like it just, boy, they made the most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The disdain for one another was what sold it. It was just like
Yeah, it
ugh.
was great.
Thanks for
So-
dressing up.
that
was another one.
I
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
like that one too. He said, "Thanks for dressing up." So they 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 leave the White House. They're not being taken seriously about the comment, so they decide that they are going to leak it to the press. They do so. They get on a morning talk show with Tyler Perry, and I don't know the actress's name, but it's kind of
Yeah.
like, like a morning talk show, kind of like a Good Morning America type thing, one of those type shows. And they're on there. They're talking about the comet, and the co-hosts are kind of just like laughing about it, and cutting up and making jokes. And Jennifer Lawrence freaks out and just kind of goes on this rant about it on live television, and everybody just kind of makes fun of her instead of like focusing on the comet. She's like on memes. She's got like t-shirts. They're making like YouTube remix songs on her, of her of her freaking out and stuff like that. So she's, living the dream. And they kind of blacklist her at this point. They decide that, she's not going to be like on the face of, the comet. I guess you would call it the comet campaign.
The comment. I just she's not. Her face will not be on the comment.
Her face is not going to be etched on the comet, along with Leonardo DiCaprio's. And so Leonardo DiCaprio kind of gets put at the front of this because he kind of kept his cool during all of this, and he's going around, he's getting popular. He starts actually dating the co-host of the show, and they're kind of having a little fling there as he's kind of getting a big head, as everybody's kind of calling him like the hot doctor and everything like that, and the hot scientist. What was it? Astronomer I want to fuck, or something like that. Like AILF or
married
something
with
like
the whole
that. Yeah.
family.
Yeah, and he's got this, nice little Midwestern wife with his kids and grown sons. And which, I mean, it's honestly it's very on character for Leonardo DiCaprio, though, I have to say. But I'm surprised that she was as old as she was. Honestly, she was older than 28.
Shit.
So he winds up getting caught by his wife, and she leaves him. She's not going to answer his phone calls anymore.
Maybe that's why it took him so long to sign on to do the movie. It's like,
yeah, he's like,
wait.
the co-host was originally like a lot older, and he finally whittled him down to like, nah, she's at least got to be in her 40s. Like,
Yeah.
So the president, she winds up having this little controversy where she gets some nudes leaked, and the polls she's going down in the polls. So that's when she decides that, hey, let's bring the comment thing to the forefront and see if we can, get a plan in motion to make me popular. And so she does that, and like I said, Leo is at the forefront of this, so he's getting all this attention. And Jennifer Lawrence is back in, I don't know where she's at exactly, but she's in like this
college.
Yeah, but
Are you
like
talking
she's
about
no, I'm talking about when she's working at the grocery store.
that? Oh yeah, that store. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's like, she's kind of been blacklisted. She's working in this grocery store, and people are starting to notice her. Timothy Chalamet and his friends notice her and making videos with her, and they're stealing liquor. She doesn't care. So Timothy Chalamet thinks that she's cool, and they decide to hang out later on. And Timothy Chalamet is a little bit deeper than we gave him credit for. So him and Jennifer Lawrence kind of have this deep moment as they're like looking at the stars, and they're just kind of stargazing. I think they're smoking weed. They're definitely drinking, and that's when Jennifer Lawrence notices that she can see the comet. And so she goes and she runs and she starts freaking out with Timothy Chalamet. Meanwhile, we also see Leonardo DiCaprio. He's driving down the street and he looks up and he stops in the middle of the street because he sees the comet. He gets out of his car and starts yelling at everybody. They're all yelling at him and honking, and then they finally take notice of what he's doing, and they get out of their cars and they start to look up and see the comet, and that's when everybody starts kind of, reality starts to kind of set in for everybody. Then everybody starts, coming together here at the end, and Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio, they meet back up with Timothy Chalamet, and they are headed back to Leonardo DiCaprio's wife so that he can make amends before the comet hits. Damn, I almost forgot the whole entire subplot of the of trying to blow up the damn comet. So
I was like, he's gonna do it. I was like,
that
guys,
would
don't
have been
worry, because
such a
Parker's
big
gonna
chunk.
remember.
That would have been such a big chunk of like me missing this movie. So they had this plan to blow up the comet. Yeah, I got sidetracked with the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. I was going to go there after I was talking about the president. So the president comes up with a plan to blow up the comet. They're going to use this old, Army veteran. He's very racist and old school, but it was a different time. And he signs up to do pretty much like this suicide mission. He's going to go up there, plant this bomb, and blow it up so that it when it either like sends it on a different trajectory, or it breaks it up into enough pieces that it disintegrates in the atmosphere. So he is up in the air already. The mission's, working. Everything seems to be going fine. And then that's when this guy that, is pretty much like this Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates.
Corporate suit, yeah.
Yeah, he's basically like in charge of like this, I guess like an electronics company, like cell phones and that type of thing. So he says that he realizes that his team has done like an analysis on the comet, and it has all these kind of minerals that are worth like upwards of like $100 and something trillion, like $160 trillion worth of minerals. And he feeds the president and everybody that this big thing that nobody will ever be hungry again, and everything will be perfect, and everybody will live in harmony. All they have to do is let him go up and break it up into small pieces so that they can retrieve it. And so they turn around the rocket, and he winds up putting his plan in motion. And long story short, it fails. Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio they're all together when they find out that it fails. And then that's when they decide to go back to Leonardo DiCaprio's wife and make amends before the end of the world. And they get there, and she lets them in, and they're having, just kind of all cutting up, laughing, not really focusing on the fact that the comet's coming. It was actually a really beautiful scene. And then Leonardo DiCaprio's colleague pops up, and he comes and joins them for dinner. They're all sitting around the table and just laughing, cutting up. Timothy Chalamet's there as well. And he says this really, really beautiful prayer before dinner. And then, yeah, as they're kind of like cutting up, the table starts to shake. We see, the comet has landed. People are getting wiped out. It's doing like these cut scenes, like where it's showing like some people dying, but it's also showing like animals like just being animals. It's kind of showing like peaceful things cut with like craziness. Um, very, very artsy for Adam McKay. And then yeah, the movie pretty much ends as the comet hits. And damn, I skipped over another spot. Before or after the tech guys plan fails, they have a backup plan where they're going to send 2,000 humans into space to the nearest lifelike or
and like
Earth-like.
cryo freeze tanks.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
biofreeze tanks to the closest Earth-like planet. And they invited Leonardo DiCaprio, but he shoots them down to go spend the remaining time with his family. Jonah Hill gets left behind as well.
Yeah.
She's like,
And-
oh shit.
Yeah, she's like on the plane, like to the thing. And she's like, oh shit. It's so funny. Like Kevin McAllister's mom was more worried about him than she was about her son.
Yeah, she never
Um,
cared.
Right. And so they take off and they make it to this other planet after like 20,000 years. They land, all these naked people come out on this new planet and they're exploring it and they're like thinking it's so beautiful. And then these things that look like ostriches with like 4 legs come up and they kill the president and just eat her in the bite her face, eat her, and then a whole swarm of them are starting to surround the people. And then the credits start rolling. And I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was a post-credit scene where Jonah Hill like climbs out of the rubble.
Yeah.
He,
I
like,
did see
show-
this, and he's got
and
the
he
phone.
Yeah, and he shows his phone and he's like, I'm just here at the end of the world, y'all. And
Yeah,
I did see, yeah.
that's
I was
great.
intimidated by how long the credits were, but I knew that was in there somewhere, and I was like, I'll find it. I'm gonna watch it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, it was totally worth it. Totally
We
worth
need
it.
to
It's so
talk
funny.
about when the president decided to make the announcement.
Oh
that-
yeah.
And Jonah Hill was like, I'm gonna do a prayer. Like he's like, it's not really. He's like, it's not really my thing, but I'm gonna pray. And if I could tell you how hard I laughed when he started praying, he was like, yeah, but he was like, I just want to pray for all the people, but most importantly, I just want to pray for stuff.
Yeah, he's like, like cars and and like
There's
clothes.
just like a lot of stuff that's gonna just get fucked up. I died. That shit killed me because I did not
Oh, man.
expect it.
All right.
Oh,
So,
God.
what do you guys rate me? What out of A+ to an F? What would you grade me
Say an A+.
on an A+?
I'd say an A+.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't have any qualms about it. It was pretty. Jeff shaking his head.
Jeff shaking his
I
head.
figured that you invited us to also grade to balance out whatever grade Jeff gave you. But there were like a couple parts where I was like, wait, this did happen, or am I in a fever dream, or did this actually happen in the movie? And then you'd be like, oh, wait a second, this actually happened. I'm like, all right, he's got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
It's
that's
the
how
ADHD.
I literally watched it this morning, and that's the whole movie.
Nice.
I
Sweet.
watched it again this morning, and that's the whole damn movie right there.
All right. So they're both saying A+. I guess Steen, you were shaking your head. Yes. Is that an A+ as well?
No,
or-
I was thinking maybe like.
Okay. Cool. All right. Even
I was
better.
thinking like a B.
Okay. All right.
Only because
Be's
I
the
was here
trap.
last time and you were this time more squirrel.
Yeah. Okay.
A little more
Yeah.
squirrel. You're like, oh wait, fuck. There's this other
Yeah.
part that this is how
Yeah.
we got to this part.
I think my ADHD brain was like, I know what this guy's talking about. I'm right there with you. That's how I'm
Nice.
remembering it too.
You're like,
on
he
point with
nailed it.
Yeah. As soon as you were like, wait a second. We were like, as soon as you were like thinking like, wait a second, like I was like hitting the same moment of like, oh yeah, wait a second.
I think I gaslit myself for a second too. So I was like, oh, it wasn't even in the movie. That whole part wasn't even in the movie.
All right. So Jeff, what?
So-
you rating it?
Immediately after I listened to the podcast with you and Steen, I messaged Parker and I was like, dude, I loved it, but I got one major beef. He's like, what? I was like, Steen gave you an A plus. I was like, come on, like, I hate perfect scores. So now your head's gonna get bigger. You're gonna think you do everything perfect. But so I'm actually gonna be kind of in between on both of them because as Araya mentioned, you covered it pretty well. I mean, you that's probably the most in-depth recap you've given. I won't give you an A plus because you had to go back. You had some things out of order. Of course, I wouldn't have done it any better, but I'm not grading you because I think I could do better because I wouldn't even attempt to do that at my old age. But I'm gonna give you an A minus.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys. All
There
right,
we go.
I'm just
covered it
I'm just a
well.
dick.
You're checking
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I feel more comfortable with the B than I do the other two scores. Honestly, I would have given myself a B, maybe a B minus. Honestly, but thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. All right, so we'll go opposite this time of what we were asking about earlier. Minus me, I'll go last, but Araya, since you've never done this before, on the podcast we like to do a rating scale of 0 to 5. 0 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. And we do a rating scale of whatever the film is that week. We base our rating out of something like on the podcast, or on the movie for the podcast. So we will let you pick. Usually Jeff and I switch off. I let Steen pick when she came on. So
It was germs.
it was germs for it was germs
yeah.
for Contagion.
Okay.
It was flying cows for Twister. It was
Moaning camels for Twister.
It was
Oh.
moaning. It was moaning camels. That's
Same
right. It was
thing.
moaning camels.
I was
'cause that
proud
the
of that
sound-
one
because that
I
was the
proud
sound.
of that one.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was such a good one too.
Okay. So would it just be like, can I just do comments or is
Yeah,
that
we
like
can do
crazy?
comments.
Instead of
No.
stars, like it's like comments?
Yeah, we can do comments. I'm down with that. All right.
Instead of piles of shit. Araya and I were talking before. And I was like, your ratings are gonna be on a scale of 0 to 5.
Okay, so when we give our ratings, are we allowed to make like a statement supporting why we rate
yes,
it?
yes. This is
Okay.
exactly this is
Because
the
I
part.
have a lot of thoughts.
This is the part. So actually I will let Jeff just we'll go with you first. What is your rating out of 5 comments? What would you give this? And tell us why.
All right, I'm going to give this movie a very solid 3.5 comments. So
Okay.
this is one of those movies where I was a little nervous going into it because with all the hype and I heard, read a lot of mixed reviews. So I was a little nervous. I'm thinking, man, this might be one of those where it's going to suck. I'm going to hate it. I knew the premise of the movie. I knew it focused more on comedy and satire. So I was okay with that. So I went into it really nervous. But I mean, gosh, I think Steen said it too. Jennifer Lawrence and Jonah Hill, that whole banter, there's just, and maybe it's because it's been a while since I've watched a straight up comedy film, but I laughed so much. I just found and then the whole, paying for snacks in the White House. I mean, there were just so many like stupid, childish things that I just thought was freaking hilarious that I really enjoyed the movie. And obviously it's not perfect by any means, but definitely, it kept me entertained. I laughed a good bit. I found myself Googling stuff later. I wasn't Googling the telephone number or the Pornhub channel thing just for.
That's what he says.
Yeah, right. Right. He already knew that when it popped up on the movie, he was like, I know that. That's
Do you guys see the QR code?
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, 3.5 for me on this one.
Awesome. All right. Araya, what about you? How many comments are you gonna give this one?
So I'm going to give it 3.
Okay.
It maybe 2.5. I love a good candid satire, if that makes sense. Like it
Yes.
felt like it's very realistic reactions and I love dark comedy, but it just with the cast that they had and the budget that they had and the story that they had, I just think it fell a little bit flat for me.
Yeah.
But I do think that some elements of it were very beautiful and very spot on. I think the message that we are responsible for our own demise, I really buy into, like I don't know, it fell a little short for me, but there were things that were redeeming about it for me.
Yeah. Got it. That, nice.
It's definitely one of those where it's so absurd, but it's also scary because the absurdness is so accurate in our country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's especially even with COVID, just
Yeah.
but the whole, just look up, don't look, don't look up.
Yeah.
Just the whole
ignore it and keep going.
just the whole
Yeah.
COVID, get a vaccination, don't dare take a vaccination. It's just there was a lot of it that really hit home, even as absurd and funny as it was. I'm like, how sad is it that this absurdness is so true in our own country?
I thought
Yeah.
it was very candid, very sharp, and a little dark, which are all things that I like. But like I said, I think that for something with it just kind of didn't really hit me the way that I want it to.
Yeah. All right. Steen, what about you? What out of 5 comments, what would you give this one? I think
Oh, your mic's
Yeah.
I
on.
look like Professor Snape
you
right
go.
now. I just wanted to acknowledge that as I was looking at myself. I actually was gonna give it a 3. So when I heard Araya say 3, I was shocked.
Okay.
But I think that I could see what they were trying to do with it, and I think it just fell below the mark for me a little
Yeah.
bit. Like it fell short a little. But the whole idea of all the parallels, like how it's so relatable, like comedy wise, but then also like the actual, like one thing we talked about is like climate change or our president. I mean, no, not climate change. That's what I was going to bring up. COVID, our president, but like real world climate change that we're actually dealing with is
Yeah.
like,
People are just
Yeah.
not, just
Yeah, no one's
ignoring
giving a
or
shit. Yeah.
denying. And there's people screaming that 7 years until we're all under the ocean.
Yeah. And I was like, this is so crazy because it's like, it was a way for them to bring, make light of really, really critical like situations. I just felt like, with that cast, it could have been so much funnier.
I think I felt irritated too, because like if we're ever in a situation like that, the fact that people can just not believe that it's happening and fuck us all over, it reminded me that people like that exist,
Yeah.
and I'm like, God, I hate you guys.
even
What are
worse-
you guys doing here? Yeah.
Yeah, but
worse,
then
the
it
fact
felt-
that, like the thing like where he was like talking about like don't blow it up, like we can save it and make money
Yeah,
off of it. Like
corporate greed.
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
You're just like
yeah.
that would so happen. That would totally happen.
It's so
But
hard. There's
that's
people
the
that would think it
part.
was like a conspiracy theory for control.
Yep.
Just so
Yeah.
many. Yeah, it made me feel feelings. It made me feel angry.
Yeah.
It made me feel frustrated. It made me feel anxious because I know that's exactly how people work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Steve,
Yeah.
you said you were shocked by Araya's score. What were you expecting from her?
Well, she was texting me while she was watching it, and it was the beginnings, and she was like, "Dude, I fucking hate this." She was like, "I don't even want to finish this. I don't even want to finish this."
There were
and
some
then
redeeming parts of it that I could appreciate, but like
it
overall,
got better for her.
it was just long too. It was
Yeah,
long.
it was very
felt
long.
very drawn out
It
at
was
certain
long, yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love movies. I love a good movie. Like
Mhm.
I love the worst movies that everybody hates. Like
Same.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
this one I'd have to agree with like the mass of people that it's very, I don't know, in the middle for me.
Yeah. I'm
So-
actually go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's exactly what I went in with it, was
Yeah.
hearing so many people, like my own friends, all over social media. I remember when it came out and they were like, "Dude, this movie sucked. Like, don't even waste your time." Like, I thought it was gonna be so good, and I'm like, "No way!" Like, and I
I'm
never
such a
watched
piece
it.
of shit that I was like, I'm built different. Like I'm way smarter. I'll probably love it. I'll see shit that they don't. Like I'll appreciate it in a
Yeah.
different way, And then I was like, wait, no, this actually like
Yeah.
doesn't meet the mark that I think it should.
That's
Yeah, it
the
could
similarity
definitely be
between
a lot
Ray and I,
smarter.
by the way. Like,
Yeah.
that's where we meet. in the middle and realize we're two
We're just
pieces of shit in the
basic
world.
ass bitches. We're not different from anybody else. Like,
Yeah.
Well, what's
And we're like,
crazy?
we're so different.
What's
I'm built
crazy
different.
is that I'm actually going to. It's funny that you two gave each other the same score because I'm actually going to agree with Jeff. I didn't think Jeff was going to like this movie. I'm actually going to give it a 3.5 as well. I thought, and actually, like, I can see where you guys are coming from. But
Parker loves this movie.
I do
Parker
love.
wanted to give it a 5.
No. Matilda's the only one I've ever given a 5. Matilda the musical is the only one I've ever given a 5.
Oh, I got a couple movies for you. I can get a couple 5s out of you, Parker.
Probably it's not very hard. We just have a really good tendency of picking some really shitty movies on this podcast. Because I think we know, like, if we watch something too good that we'll just sit there and talk about how good it is, and that's not as
What
much
if we
fun.
do Dune? What if the next one we do Dune?
We'll definitely bring
Array is inviting
Yeah.
us back on the pod.
Yeah, we're coming
absolutely.
back. We're gonna watch both Dunes, the one with Sting and the new one, and we're gonna compare.
Okay.
Is that Timothy guy in that one?
Timothy
Chalamet.
guy, the starved Victorian child is in that one. Yes.
Which, honestly,
Timothy
speaking of which, I
Charcuterie
really loved
Board.
his character, but that's actually one of my biggest complaints about the movie. And I think that, like, by the time he shows up, I was ready for it to go on and not introduce a new character. And it's not really his fault. I think he did a great job portraying the character, but just as far as, like, pacing goes, by the time he shows up, I'm like, we know that the
agree with
comic's getting close to hit. I didn't need, like, him and, like, Jennifer Lawrence's, like, love story. Like, I really feel like he kind of was just inconsequential to the rest of the film.
Yeah, just drew it out like
Right,
drew it out a
exactly.
little
Whereas,
bit
like, at
longer.
least exactly. Whereas, like, each of the other characters, like, had something that they were, like, at least contributing to the storyline, or at least, like,
Yeah.
creating conflict, resolution, something. But he was just kind of there for no reason other than to kind of, like, be a love interest for Jennifer
I
Lawrence.
think it was to, like, create some kind of, like, emotional what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, just to make it more emotional when the world did end. Like, it shows you that, like, these people are, like, trying to live their lives and
yeah,
carry out these relationships, and it's all just going to end anyway. It makes it feel more redundant to do these things, I think.
yeah,
That and just another type of person portrayed in the movie.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, because we didn't really see too many. We didn't see too many, like, I guess, like, what citizens.
It felt like they were like, what do we do with Timothy? Like, we got him on the roster. Where do we put this guy?
Yeah,
Right,
fucking
exactly.
throw him in there.
We got him with this long, sexy hair. What do we do with
Yeah.
him? Okay, let's write him into a skater punk. Perfect. Like a skater stoner.
Yeah.
That's really good at actually, like, with prayer.
Yeah, he
That-
does
I
a
love
beautiful
that.
prayer.
That really was like, I even when I watched it the second time, I was like, man, that's like, it kind of was like got me a little bit. The second time I watched it, I was like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and then you watch
I don't know
Jonas.
The yin to the yang.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, though, I mean, if you got to pick the way you left this earth, I don't think that was a bad way to go.
No, I think.
I mean, you know, you're
painless.
leaving at the same time as the rest of humanity.
Yeah, like, legitimately, like, I think about that all the time. Like, in a world-ending catastrophe, I'm like, well, I mean, at least we're all going out together. Like, que sera, sera. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it's
true,
a lot
yeah.
less lonely. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, I mean, most people die.
Damn.
Most people die alone, but at least you're getting to die with, like,
preferably,
7 billion
I'd
other
rather
people.
have everybody go with me. You know, what I
Right,
mean?
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
it's like what's more
Come
what's
on.
more fucking metal than that? Like, what's more metal?
Speaking of metal, we should do Little Nicky at some point. I think that'd be fun.
Oh my god.
Have we done an Adam? Oh, we have done an Adam Sandler. We did Hustle.
Array
haven't
and
done
I we love us some Adam Sandler,
Have
man.
you guys seen Hustle? We watched Hustle.
I did watch Hustle. You
Last
know, I
night.
was really surprised when his Uncut Gems came out, how good that was. Like, it was completely different, Adam Sandler.
Man, that
Uncut
is
Gems?
intense. I
Uncut
can't watch
Gems?
Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is intense.
But yeah, we have an Adam Sandler joke, because one time I went to Best Buy and I got it ordered for them to bring it out to my car. They
Uh-huh.
got it messed up as a pickup. So I called him. I was like, "Hey, dude, I straight up look like Adam fucking Sandler right now. I need you to bring this out to my car."
Dude.
So I edited her face on Adam Sandler clothes.
I was dressed like fucking Adam Sandler,
But we dressed like that, and we are like, you know what? Fuck it.
like
I mean,
a
that's-
billionaire who wears like basketball
Yeah.
shorts.
I dress like that hoping that people think I'm rich when really it's just like I'm like, yeah, hopefully my Buick Encore does not break down today. Yeah, so you guys have any other thoughts on the movie?
Did,
No,
Any final thoughts?
Jennifer's hair, bro. That's about it.
I mean, that's a big thought, honestly. That's pretty crazy.
I'm
like-
Googling that. That's what I'm Googling when we're done.
Now we're gonna do our dude or dud of the week. This is where we pick a person that stood out to us that either was, somebody that was just great. It can be an actor, an actress. It can be somebody that composes the music, the director, whatever. Just somebody involved with the film. It can be a character. Usually it's a character, honestly. So Steen, who is your dude or dud of the week this week? Like, who would you say was a dude, or who would you say is a dud? Either or.
I would say Jennifer Lawrence was a dude for sure.
All right.
Her
She was a dude.
interaction, yeah, she was a dude, bro.
I thought
I'm a
you-
dude.
I swear I
you're a
thought you were gonna
dude.
say her hair.
One, her
was a
hair.
dud.
That was a dud. Yeah. Wait, what was that thing? I'm a dude. You're a dude. She's a dude.
She's a
we're all
dude. We're all dudes. Hey. Yes.
Her interaction with each character, she just was so funny. Like, no matter who she was interacting with, I feel like she was the most consistent with being like, she made me laugh.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Yeah, great choice. Jeff, what about you? Who is your
All
dude
right.
or dud?
Well, I feel like in honor of Array and Steen, not liking this movie, I need to pick a dud. And I was trying to pick between two different characters. I wanted to do the creepy corporate guy. But did
oh,
But he did
anybody
it so well, though. He did it
Yeah.
so well.
did anybody catch the scene where he like sniffed the woman's hair?
Yeah, I
Yes.
did. Where he
Yeah.
like leaned over.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
did
that-
catch that.
They've kind of made fun of Trump. That had to be a dig at Biden because of his weird stuff like that. But actually, I'm going to make podcast history for our show. I'm going to pick someone and name this person my dude and dud. And
Okay.
that is Mr. General Themes, the guy that was collecting money for snacks in the White House.
Okay.
Dude, that is such a dude move. But at the same time, like, dude,
What a
seriously?
dud, yeah.
I mean, you got two scientists trying to save planet Earth, and you're charging them for snacks at the White House. So
Oh man.
he's my dude and my dud. It's still the funniest thing in the movie to me, and I was just like, I mean,
That was.
even at first, I'm like, wait, you have to pay for snacks in the White House? How absurd is that? And then when she gets them free later, I just started dying laughing. I was like, that is so awesome.
That's funny.
So,
That is good. That's a good one, man. That is our first 50-50. So nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Araya, what about you?
So
Who is
my
your dude or
dude,
dud?
my dude is always Jonah Hill. I'm gonna be honest. Jonah Hill is like one of those comedians and actors
Yeah.
that he plays a role that he plays in every movie, which is basically just himself. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Like he's like Woody Harrelson. Like you never see the character. He's just Woody Harrelson, and he's
Yeah.
just playing the same character he's always played. So Jonah Hill is my dude.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
I guess I think Timothy is my dud. I just didn't really like the character altogether. Like you said, the praying scene was nice, but
Yeah.
it just didn't really it didn't add anything for me, really.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing is like it. I feel like maybe if he had been introduced a little bit earlier, like yeah, it was just at it was like the last like
half of the third act. You know, it wasn't even the full third act. Like I don't know, it's just not enough there for me. But yeah, I am gonna go with a dud, and I am gonna go with Philip, the journalist who was Jennifer Lawrence's boyfriend. Oh,
Boo.
ex-boyfriend. Like what a piece of trash, right?
Yeah.
Like he literally like I don't know. Like I don't know. Not a good move, bro. Not a
No.
good move at all. And I don't know. I feel like that would be a hard way to get like any woman ever interested in you ever again.
Well, I'm sure.
yeah.
I'm sure her hair didn't help though. If it would not have been for the hair, maybe he would have thought differently. But
I mean, maybe. I mean, you know, it's still Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence with bangs is still Jennifer Lawrence.
It wasn't just bangs, Parker. Let's be honest with ourselves. I was like, did she get her haircut in Lancaster, PA? Like, where did she go? Yeah, man, I'm definitely Googling that. And I'm curious, like, I've always been curious. I know they're really good with effects and stuff, but like, just even her nose rings looked real. And I was like, damn, like, they really. Like, let me find out she was going through a crisis during COVID and they just happened to film this. But,
I mean,
yeah.
she very well could have. It could have. She could have better PR people after her photo leak. She just has people that are on top of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
we definitely need to find a picture of her on set with that missing tooth, though.
For sure.
Gotta
Yeah.
find that.
Yeah.
I forgot
That's
about
Honestly,
definitely-
no, actually my dud of the week is Jennifer's tooth for like taking straight out of her head.
I mean, can you imagine how much grief Jonah gave her? I mean, just,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
he's gonna make fun of
Literally
you
a dud.
regardless.
Oh,
There's
man.
gotta be just so much banter. Oh my god.
I can't wait. I can't wait. We got to find that. If I find someone, I'm definitely gonna share it for sure. We'll put it on Instagram as well. Does anybody else have anything else before we get out of here tonight?
No, I will say Araya and I are finally picking back up some
Yeah,
slack.
Yeah.
We'll be back out there. Sorry, I hear my youngest child crying. And I just had to like open up an ear really quick and make sure that like my husband's got it, you know?
Yeah. Just make sure somebody's tending to the child.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're finally, so if you're like, who are these two random girls, and you go to our podcast page, it's been a couple weeks since we put an episode out, but finally there's been a lot of transitions in life, so we're finally
Yeah,
kinda getting back on track.
We're ready.
Yeah, we're ready to just knock it out. So we actually were recording tomorrow.
Awesome.
So,
Cool.
Yes,
Cool,
yes.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
will say
what
this
day is
about
y'all's
y'all's.
what day is y'all's release date? Like what day y'all usually release on?
It's very
Okay.
Rhea edits all of it, but usually if we record on a Friday, it's probably out like on a Sunday, Monday.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
pretty
what we
quick
shoot
turnaround.
for.
That's a fun turnaround because
We also don't want to release it on a Sunday sometimes. We'd rather be like, all right, Monday, like it's a hit. People are driving to work. Like people
Yeah.
want to listen to a pod. Like Sunday, like no one cares that
Yeah.
you release a podcast episode. So we try to like time it.
see we do it Sunday.
Um,
We do Sunday 10 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's same thought, like catching
Yeah.
the people overnight, like
Yeah.
for Monday morning. Yep, same thing.
Perfect.
And I will say
Same.
this about their podcast. I love listening to stuff that like after you listen to it, you immediately want to like go Google the stuff they're talking about because so, I mean, y'all talk about, I'm only like maybe 3 or 4 episodes in, but it's like I listen to it. It's like, man, how have I not heard about this before? And
Yeah.
I'm on there Googling and trying to, get some more backstory on some of the things. Cause I know, Steve, you mentioned to it about the amount of research. And I think what a lot of listeners don't realize is you might get an hour episode, but there was probably like 10 hours of content.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we've talked
the
about it,
stuff.
and I read like a whole book for every
Yeah.
topic because I'm
Yeah,
a
like,
big reader. I like to read,
It's intense.
but
Yeah, and then it's like like this we're doing I'll let you in. It's Cassie Jo Stoddart if you want to like look her
Oh,
up.
cool.
It's a crazy crime, but for instance, like I started researching and I was doing a whole bunch on something else and I just wasn't feeling, I was bored with it.
Yeah.
And so I had already wasted so much fucking time on a whole nother episode. And then I just told her, I was like, dude, I'm not feeling this. Like, I just want to pick something different. And so that kind of put another week into it where I was like, screw it, I'm researching a whole different topic. Like this one was kind of just, I didn't want to do it. And yeah, so I'm excited about this one.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Look out for that.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear it. Honestly, I do. I think I've listened. I think at this point, I think I've listened to all of them at this point.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I've done my due diligence.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, I have. Because I mean, well, honestly, like I mean, I've told you guys both. Like that's kind of my jam, anyways. I mean, Jeff knows this because I mean, there for a while, he would ask me like what kind of crazy crime documentary I've watched this week. Whenever I would talk about what I was streaming at the beginning of the podcast. Yeah, and I could probably do like my own podcast about just true crime things that I've streamed.
We'll
like,
have to have you
just
guys
that.
come on ours. And,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. We would love to. We would love to.
Yeah.
We'll shoot you like a quick fact sheet.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like we
Yeah.
would. That's probably like legitimately like that's kind of just a little peek behind the curtain. Like that's one of the reasons we do what like because we kind of had the same. We came together kind of the same way. Like we've been friends outside of TikTok, and then you know we would just like talk back and forth, and then we would talk about movies and like things that we would watch, and like a couple of things we were watching together. We would watch like Riverdale, and we would talk about Riverdale. And we'd also
Yes.
talk about and then Cobra Kai. And so Cobra Kai, like a new season of Cobra Kai was coming up, and so Jeff and I were like, you know, like we've always wanted to talk about a podcast. Like we started talking about like what we thought the season was going to be about. And so we were like, you know what? Like we've joked about like doing a podcast for so long. Like let's do it. So
what
when
we did,
season
yeah.
6, so when season 6 dropped, like we did like a recap, and that's kind of how this podcast started. Was like a Cobra Kai like episode watch along kind of a thing. And then we were like, well, what are we gonna do after that? And then we were like, you know, like let's
Just keep going.
go with
Yeah, let's
movies,
just
you
keep it
know.
going. Let's
Right,
keep
and
these
so we
good
kept doing
vibes
movies.
rolling.
Yeah, and so we did. So we kept doing we started doing movies, and we did like a theme every month, and that's kind of how we would just kind of roll with that.
Well, you know what's really
Um,
funny?
Which
When
all
I
we have to do
first-
is watch a movie for like 2 hours, and then Jeff does like some Jeff does actually more work than I do at this point. I do a lot of the editing and the production and stuff, but he does all the research. I just watch the movie a couple times and record it.
Yeah, easy. I
Yeah.
actually wanted a career in film. That was my first, like when I was a kid, that's what I wanted. When I
Yeah.
first started going to college, those were the classes I enrolled for. It's
Mhm.
what I really wanted to do. But with 2 kids and a husband that travels, it was just
Yeah.
like not
Mhm.
something that worked out. But movies are I'm very good at movies. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
She's your
cool.
girl on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I
For
love
sure.
movies. Yeah, big film fan. I was one of those kids growing up that like every Friday, like my sister and I would get like $5 each to go to like the local video store after, you know, school on Friday. And you could either get like the new releases that were like, you know, it was like 2 for $5. You only get to keep them for like 2 nights, or you could get like 5 for the whole week. And I was always the kid that got like 5 for the whole week. And I would get like all the, you know, old cheap movies and just watch them back to back to back like all week.
Love that.
So love films. Yeah. That grew up loving them.
I love films.
Love films. Yes. Big
Araya,
film nerd.
remember this? Hold on. This is gonna
hey,
be
you
such
guys,
a-
I think I have to cut off a little bit early. I
Okay,
think-
no, yeah, we're fine. We're almost,
I think
we're almost out of
I
here.
think big guy's struggling up there. But
No,
guys,
you're
thanks
fine.
so much for having me. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah,
Of
appreciate
course,
it.
yeah.
This has been a blast.
Yeah, I'd like to be back on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
definitely make that
yeah.
happen 100%.
All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, thanks, you too.
Bye.
Yeah,
Okay.
were you about to say something else, or
She's not here, but there was one time there was just a funny line from one of our episodes. She's gone now. So like, do you remember this? It was never on the episode. We never
okay,
cut
I
it
got you.
out.
I got you.
We
Yeah.
were referencing one time because I was like, "You love films," but the way I said it, the way I just said it was
Yeah.
in the same tone. That one time we were
Gotcha.
referencing something that someone said in a COD lobby,
Yeah.
and
Well, she'll hear this and then she'll laugh about it then.
I hate fat people. We were like, what? It was just,
Dude, lobbies, online lobbies are the craziest. Like seriously, some of the most toxic places.
Yeah, anything else before we get out of here?
No.
No, good. Jeff, you good?
Dude, this has been a blast. We'll definitely have to do this again.
Yeah, for sure.
I know
100%.
Steen joked that Araya invited herself back, but man, you guys have an open invitation.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun for
Appreciate
sure.
that. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I told them
she's
they have
around.
an open invitation, and I'm glad that she took us up on it for sure, because like that's kind of how I feel like you can do that at this point.
Good.
for
No,
sure.
yeah. Our next we're gonna record tomorrow ours, and then I think it'd be fun to get you guys in on one that's not necessarily a true crime. I think it would be one of Araya's. That's because those are gonna be. It could be anything. It could be aliens. It could be ghosts. It could be a haunted doll. I mean, and I think that has more room for humor.
Yeah.
And like the crime is like hit or miss. There's only so many jokes you can make about like a story like that. You try to make light of it, but
I mean,
definitely
yeah.
what Araya, we usually go back and forth. So tomorrow we're gonna record mine, and I don't know what Araya wants to do next week. So
Sure.
we should
Sure,
we'll
sure,
keep
sure.
keep an eye out on
Yeah.
that.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, yeah, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Great. Thank you so much for doing this again. Steen, this is the second time that you came, and I appreciate that. Jeff, thank you so much for doing this with me every week, and for putting up with my shenanigans. And thank you, listeners. We do appreciate it. Every download helps. We also appreciate you sharing the podcast. We appreciate you liking, subscribing, rating, reviewing, all that fun stuff. That really does help us get seen every time you do that. It moves us up a little bit in some random chart, some random algorithm, some way, and we can tell when people do that, our numbers actually do go up a little bit. So we really do appreciate that. And that's just one way you can help us out for free. If you do want to help us out financially, we do have a Patreon. Links to that and all of our socials, including the girls from Immediately Know, they're going to be in the show notes. So if you want to follow those, please do. You can find those down there. Yeah. Thanks again. And remember, the snacks are free. Peace out.
Peace out.
Steen, I gotta ask. When I mentioned NF, you said you were shocked.
Yeah, I just was like, because I feel like no one knows who that
white
is.
guy.
that little bit of that, but then I feel like I've never heard anyone talk about him before. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My son turned me on to him. Gosh, probably about 3 albums ago, and it's just I don't
I thought I was about to say 3 hours ago.
Yeah.